In the palm of a stranger's hand lay a life so fragile, it could vanish with a single breath. The tiny dog, no bigger than a teacup, was moments from death. But in that final second, something extraordinary happened, a twist no one saw coming, and it changed everything. It was a cold, windless morning when the alley lay silent, except for the faint rustle of discarded paper. The city had not yet woken, and the streets glistened faintly from last night's rain. Amid the shadows, something stirred, a tiny movement, so small it could easily be missed. There, tucked against a damp cardboard box, was a creature no bigger than a teacup. Her fur, once golden, was now matted with dirt, and her breathing came in shallow, trembling bursts. The air was heavy with the smell of rust and rain, and somewhere in the distance, a shop sign creaked against the wind. The scene held a stillness that felt almost final. No one walked this alley at this hour. No one would have found her, unless fate had decided otherwise. And on this morning, fate was already on its way. The sound of hurried footsteps broke the silence. A young woman, named Clara, on her way to work, had chosen to take the back alley as a shortcut. Her umbrella dripped from the morning mist, and her mind was occupied with thoughts of the long day ahead, until she noticed the faintest whimper. She froze. It was so soft she thought she imagined it. But then, there it was again, a tiny, desperate cry. Clara turned toward the source, her eyes scanning the piles of cardboard and rusted bins. And then she saw her. A palm-sized puppy, barely able to lift her head, blinked weakly at her. Clara crouched, her heart pounding as she realized the little dog's chest rose and fell in shallow gasps. The pup's paws twitched feebly, as if reaching out for help. Clara didn't hesitate. She slipped her umbrella under her arm, wrapped the trembling body in her scarf, and whispered, "It's okay. You're safe now." In that instant, the morning rush, the job, the deadlines, none of it mattered. Something fragile had found its lifeline, and Clara knew she couldn't walk away. Clara's hands trembled as she cradled the tiny bundle against her chest. The pup's body was cold, too cold. She could feel every fragile bone beneath the damp fur, and with each shallow breath, the fear in her heart grew heavier. She quickened her pace, scanning the street for help. The nearest vet was nearly a mile away, and she didn't have a car. A taxi sped past, but didn't stop. Her phone buzzed with work emails, but she ignored them, clutching the pup tighter. Rain began to fall again, soaking through her scarf. Clara ducked under an awning and gently rubbed the puppy's sides, trying to generate warmth. The little dog whimpered faintly, eyes fluttering closed. Panic surged through Clara. If she stopped moving, the puppy might never open them again. She started running, heart pounding in rhythm with the patter of rain on the pavement. Strangers turned to look, some murmuring in concern, but no one stepped forward. Every step felt like a gamble against time, and Clara refused to lose. The world narrowed to just two beings, the girl and the tiny life she carried, and nothing else existed until they reached safety. Clara rounded the corner, relief flooding her when she spotted the vet clinic sign in the distance. But as she approached, her hope faltered. The lights inside were off, and a notice on the door read, "Closed for emergency call-out." Her chest tightened. She pressed the puppy closer, feeling its faint heartbeat against her palm. She couldn't wait for the vet to return. Minutes mattered. Scanning the street, she spotted another clinic on her phone's map, 6 blocks away. It wasn't far, but the rain was now pouring, turning sidewalks into slippery streams. Her shoes splashed through puddles, soaking her feet, each step heavier than the last. Halfway there, traffic snarled the crossing. She stood helpless at the curb, every red light feeling like an eternity. The puppy's breathing grew shallower. Clara whispered, "Hold on. Please hold on." She had no choice but to keep moving. By the time Clara pushed through the doors of the second clinic, her lungs burned from running. "Help," she called, her voice breaking. A vet tech behind the counter sprang into action, hurrying over as Clara unwrapped the soaked scarf to reveal the motionless puppy. "She's freezing," the tech muttered, whisking the tiny body into the back. Clara followed, her heart thudding like a drum. The veterinarian, a calm woman with quick hands, immediately began warming the puppy with heated towels while checking her vitals. "Pulse is faint," she said, "but she's still fighting." Clara stood frozen, watching the team work. Tiny paws were rubbed gently. Oxygen flowed through a minuscule mask, and warm fluids were prepared. Minutes passed like hours until finally, the vet glanced up with a faint smile. "She's responding," she said. "She's not out of danger yet, but she's stronger than she looks." Relief crashed over Clara, leaving her lightheaded. For the first time since that alley, hope didn't feel impossible. The little dog had taken her first step back toward life, and Clara knew she'd stay to see her take the rest. The clinic became Clara's second home over the next 2 weeks. Every morning before work and every evening after, she stopped by to see the puppy, now officially named Pip, for how small she was. At first, Pip could barely lift her head. Her fur was thin in patches, her ribs still visible beneath the warming blanket. But Clara stayed, stroking her gently, speaking in soft tones that seemed to reach through the haze of weakness. The vet team marveled at her progress. "She's a fighter," one nurse said as Pip managed to lap water on her own for the first time. By the end of the first week, Pip began trying to stand, her tiny legs trembling but determined. Clara cheered her on like she was watching a champion cross the finish line. Then came the day Pip walked, just a few unsteady steps into Clara's waiting hands. Clara's eyes burned with tears, knowing the distance between almost gone and alive had never felt so small or so precious. Every moment they spent together deepened a quiet bond neither had expected. Pip wasn't just healing, she was beginning to trust. And Clara? She realized she couldn't imagine her life without that trust. By the third week, Pip's transformation was undeniable. Her eyes, once dull and clouded with pain, now sparkled with life. She greeted Clara with a wagging tail so fierce it seemed to shake her whole body. It wasn't just gratitude, there was something deeper. Pip followed Clara's every move, her gaze fixed as if she feared losing her again. She would curl up in Clara's lap, pressing her tiny body as close as possible, sighing as if the world outside no longer mattered. Clara began noticing the change in herself too. Her days felt lighter, her evenings brighter. Even on difficult days, the thought of Pip waiting for her was enough to melt away the weight of the world. The vet staff teased her gently. "You know she's yours already, right?" One nurse laughed. Clara smiled but didn't answer. Deep down, she knew they were right. One night, as Pip rested her head on Clara's palm, their eyes met, and Clara felt it. This wasn't just a rescue. It was the start of a promise, one neither of them had to speak aloud. Some bonds aren't built in years. Sometimes, they're forged in a single fight for survival. And theirs was unbreakable. Months later, Pip was unrecognizable from the frail, trembling creature Clara had first found. Her coat shone, her steps were confident, and her playful yips filled the house with joy. Clara officially signed the adoption papers on a sunny afternoon. As she held Pip close, the little dog licked her cheek, tail wagging furiously, as if she knew she had finally found her forever home. Neighbors would often stop to greet them during walks, amazed by Pip's transformation. Clara would smile and say, "She saved me as much as I saved her." That night, Pip curled up beside Clara in bed, her tiny body warm against her side. Clara whispered, "You'll never be alone again." And for the first time in her life, Pip drifted into sleep without fear, knowing she was exactly where she belonged. They hadn't just found each other. They had found family.